That's hilarious. All right, Cassandra, welcome. Happy
Thank
to
you.
meet you.
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing awesome and so pumped to get to spend a little time with you as well. Um,
Well, the pleasure is all mine, Matt, for sure.
well, and this is awesome. It's like I've said on multiples of these podcasts. There's a lot of people I'm interviewing who I have not met yet, and so on the 15th is going to be fabulous to get to shake hands and give hugs and do all that. So I'm looking forward to seeing you next week.
Listen, I'm still like, I don't understand why I'm here. I'm pretty sure I got lumped in with the rest of them accidentally, but I'm hoping nobody notices. So I'm just going to go to Denver and see what happens.
Hey, well, first of all, it was an intentional decision, and second of all, we're gonna get you out of the humidity and get to the dry weather here in Denver, so you'll enjoy it more.
Just my style. I love it.
That's awesome. Well, for those of you who don't, know much about you and your background, when people ask like who are you, what do you do, like what do you tell them?
Oh, it's so hard. I'm from San Antonio, so I started television in San Antonio. I was actually an executive producer for a really long time. I know I've had a lot of work done, but I'm actually 65. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was a executive producer in San Antonio for a very long time of morning shows, and then I kind of decided, you know what, like I want to take this leap. I'm going to get in front of the camera. So I did that. I was a host as well, and I kind of had a dual role where I produced content and did all the on-camera stuff. And then I moved. I left San Antonio, and I just thought, I was in TV so long, 15 years. I have so much knowledge and things that I could share with the world. And I just started consulting and kind of doing freelance things all over. And I'm, just kind of going with the flow. And now that I'm able to travel and stuff, I get gigs wherever I have them. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. And that's kind of my background.
That's it's pretty incredible, and I'll have to honestly pick your brain of how to like make better videos and content and all that stuff for my business. But what was the most difficult thing? What is the most difficult thing from like an executive producer, like producing a show perspective? And then I've got a follow-up question, which I should be quiet and not ask it. But what also like what was the biggest challenge moving from just like producing to like being in front of the camera?
Well, my first love is producing because I'm creative, and if you're a creative, I know you understand this. If you're a creative, you live for it. Every day is like, how can I create something, produce something? So I really enjoyed like having, this is a leadership conference. So I could tell like taking charge of everything and kind of having that control.
Yeah.
And so I think to answer your question, the hardest thing when I flipped in front of the camera was not having that control, kind of being, I don't want to call you a puppet, but I don't know how else to say it because I've been both. You kind of just have to take direction from where you're told and just go with that. And so it's a very different, it's completely different. I'm lucky to have experienced both sides. I definitely have parts of one that I love versus parts of the other. But I loved them both in different ways. And now to be able to combine it is pretty cool because I think it makes you better. It's kind of like the crazy thing is like being maybe a coach and then becoming a player, which a lot of people do that opposite. But understanding kind of the mindset behind why you do things and why this matters, I think it makes you better.
That's it. Well, no, that's a great point because it's player, coach, player. It's like behind the camera, in front of the camera. And it's, from my perspective too, I think it's that getting uncomfortable almost with that different perspective of getting in front of a camera, first of all, is one of the most difficult things I've ever done. And now it's fine, right? I'm used to it because I've done it so much, but I used to avoid it like the plague because it was this fear of screwing up, looking foolish, like all these things go through your mind. And talking to a camera, like talking to a person's easy for me, but talking at a lens, you're kind of like, this is different. So
It's interesting you say that because I always used to say, as an executive producer, I used to say, camera, I think people get into it because they want to be famous. They kind of have an ego. They just want to be recognized. And I think that's definitely the wrong reasons. You know, being in front of a camera will really show who you are. Like, you cannot hide that. And I think people don't understand that. And I think that's also what makes you vulnerable. When you get in front of a camera, you think, oh, people are going to see right through me, you know? And that makes a lot of people nervous, but it's that vulnerability that makes you good.
Yes.
You know, don't be, everyone wants to kind of be Oprah. Everyone wants to be, you know,
Yep.
how does a TV person act? And, you know, there's too many. If you turn on your TV now, you'll see a million beautiful faces, and they all talk the same, and they all say the same stuff. There's no difference, you know? And I think that that's why we need people that are going to be actually authentic and real. And that makes a good, I mean, it doesn't matter what you look like or what you do. It just have an authentic voice.
That's so well said, because it's when I finally made this shift, and it came through practice, right? Of going from this perfectionist mentality, and this doesn't have to even be in front of a camera, but this perfectionist mentality to this is me, and this comfort level, like this is me, and I'm gonna fumble on words, I'm gonna throw in an ah or an every once in a while, I am gonna say the wrong thing again, I'm gonna practice the heck out of it so it's like it comes across well, but there's an authenticity, like this is the way I talk. I mean, you said before we even started, you're like, Matt, I'm gonna throw at y'all about like 50 times, right? And I'm like, that's great, because that's you coming across, not some like fake personality where then I meet you next week and it's like, wow, that's not the Cassandra I talked to. I think I'm getting who you are.
Exactly. And it's kind of like when you go into TV and you meet with your coach, you know, your TV coach that's going to tell you what you're doing wrong, and you sit there with them, and you sit right here in front of a computer screen, and they back it up and they show you what you're doing. They're like, you see this right here? You can't do that. And you're just like, well, that's who I am, you know? And it's really ironic that that's what they do to you, because they want you to be so cookie cutter. But that's not really what makes good entertainment at all. And so I don't know. I know that when I was in San Antonio, what people would tell me is like, you're pretty authentic. You know, I would come without my nails done. I'd pull my eyelashes off on air. I'd do whatever it took, because, you know, we live in a very inauthentic world. And I think, you know, for anyone to think that this is what I look like the minute I step off, like, that's not even realistic. It's a lot of fakeness going on, you know, and then anyone can do that and put on lipstick and, you know, fix their hair and all that. And I'm just obviously speaking to a woman, but for a male, it's the same thing. Like, you can pretend or pose, but, you know, in the world we live in the social media world with filters and, you know, ability for people to be so perfect, I think like it's really important that we continue to find who we are, our authentic self, you know.
Yes.
And
well, so how have you, because you're obviously a very confident person, right? I can feel it through the screen here.
Everybody around me is like,
yeah, exactly. I'll do side interviews to get the real perspective after.
You're confident in who I am, absolutely.
Right. So you have a confidence in yourself, and I think it's great. How, you know, because we all go through this where we have these confidence kind of ups and downs, right? And how do you personally, like, if you're going down that path of like not feeling so confident in yourself, like how do you pull yourself back out? Like what is something you've done? Because part of it's probably you're born with some of this, right? But it's also probably more learned, I would say. Fair or not?
Very fair. You know, as a child, I was kind of crazy and gregarious, but I was, you know, I had a shyness to me, and I was not so confident in certain things. As an adult, I've learned a few things. I think being in the industry has taught me a lot, you know, because you see behind the scenes, you see that 99.999% of people that are up there have like this, and they're gorgeous people and they're talented people, and you just think so much of them. But when they step off screen, off camera, they're the most insecure people And it's very sad, it's very sad because they live and die. I always tell people, you can't live and die by the camera, because people will, especially in the world we live in, they critique you and they're like, oh, that lipstick color was awful, or, oh, what are you wearing? And they're just so mean behind a keyboard that you have to keep that in perspective. You know what I mean? And I think for me is understanding that I'm only competing against myself. So I would always say, am I in a better place now than I was a year ago or 5 years ago? And
Yes.
if I am, and if I'm happier, and to me that means am I happier, then I'm okay. And stop there's a lot of mental illness and things associated with, I think, getting online and, living and dying by the likes or the comments, or, just see what I posted and all that stuff. And it's such a fake world that I think, and I hate to keep bringing it up, but I just feel like there was a extreme shift in who we were as people once social media came through, and we started kind of just comparing our lives to others. Yep. And our beauty to others. And, it's a dangerous thing, because we all live our own path, our own journey, and there's abundance. You know what I'm saying? No one should live in scarcity. We have enough for everyone to go around. So there's enough for you to succeed, and there's enough for that person to succeed too. Them succeeding doesn't take away from you. So when you start getting caught up in that little hamster wheel of oh my God, but look at this person and look what they're doing, and they're, a network, and they're already doing this, then you're just going down a slippery slope. And I think that's one of the most important things, is to take time for yourself and your own mental health. And I used to laugh when I was in the morning show grind. When I would get home, it was just so much going on that I would literally sit in my car with the windows clothes, just box myself in, no radio, the car wasn't on or anything. And I would just sit there for, I don't know, honestly, sometimes, I know it's going to sound crazy, but over an hour, just in complete silence. That silence you get when you kind of
yep,
close your doors, right?
Yep.
And it was just for me a moment to kind of reflect on your day. If something didn't go right, replaying it in a positive way, not taking that energy into your home or whatever. All of these things I think help people, and just understanding that your mental health comes first, and your energy matters. It's all connected, it's all interconnected. And I think kind of getting that helps you, because then you don't compare, and then you're just oh my God, you hit the jackpot, congratulations, this is great. And I feel no animosity or not jealous of you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly right. Yeah. It switches, that conversation in the head switches to being happy for that person, which then frees you up to be happy for yourself.
Yes.
Yep. I totally get that.
But it took I'm not going to say that came right away for me. That came around the age of 24 or so. I was, all into reading The Secret and kind of living a life of manifestation. And it totally changed my life, because I started to decide that I deserved happiness, and I deserved, everything that I wanted. I deserved it. Because for a while, maybe you think, I don't know, that's for everybody else, that's not for me. You see yourself in a different way. You can see people succeed, and they're always on a different level than you.
Yes, that's
you
so true.
Feel you don't deserve that for whatever reason. But once you get there, and you're wait, forget that. That person deserves it, but so do I.
Yes.
And then you just don't go back from there, because you start to see your life kind of tumble in a positive direction, and you're this actually works.
Yep. Yeah, I found that same thing. When you compare yourself to other, I'll still see a speaker do a speech or something like that, and I'll be oh my gosh, in the past I used to be oh crap, I should have that, or why don't I have more? Shouldn't I have something booked today? Instead of now I'm when I look at them, I'm oh my gosh, I'm so excited for them. That's great. And if I happen to know them, I'll text them and be hey, saw that post, that's awesome, congrats on that speech. Because then it gets me back to okay, what action can I do to get better today? Right?
Exactly. And you're putting that good energy out to people. and that always like comes back to you. People don't get that. I mean, you celebrate others and you're constantly saying, congratulations, good luck. I'm going to support you. I'm going to do this. Like eventually vice versa, right? They start to support you. And, then when you have something great happen to you, everybody's celebrating you.
That's true. That's so true. The, so yeah, I'm gonna have to do another interview with you too. Maybe we'll carve out time in Denver when you're here.
You better backdrop.
I know we'll disappear to go do a bigger podcast. But let me ask you one question related to shift, real quick. I also want to be aware of your time, but we're talking about our 4 B's during the shift, right? So it's our brain, so kind of mindset stuff, our bond, which is relationships, our body, so kind of taking care of yourself nutritionally, fitness, all that stuff. My wife, you'll meet my wife actually as well. She's coming to talk about nutrition when we're there, and then hopefully do the workout with us too. And then the last one's business. So like, how do we grow our business or our career, like kind of step up from a leadership perspective, or gain confidence to jump off and start something, right? So the kind of brain, our body, our business, our bond, do one of those like pop out at you of something that you've had to work on in the past or you're currently working on? And can you talk a little bit about kind of one that just, like when you hear it, just kind of sparks and talk a little
well,
about
the one that doesn't come naturally to me, I'm not gonna lie, is the body part, because I'm, Latina. We love to eat. I don't know what
everything. Yeah.
We don't live a great, healthy lifestyle, maybe in terms of like just naturally it doesn't come. So understanding that what you put in your mouth also, affects like your whole self was kind of a tough one for me. I mean, like I was happy. So I'm like, why do I have to go walk, or that's no fun,
Yeah.
And that I'm just speaking for myself. That's definitely my weakness. But it's also having like that self-discipline and all that stuff that comes with it. And, that was not an easy thing for me, because I just felt like, well, shouldn't you just be happy and just do what you want? And if it makes you happy, that's great. But, I get a little older, you start to realize that the things do affect you and you don't have that youthfulness anymore. And, now maybe you have trouble getting up off the couch, and maybe like, you wake up and your bones are cracking. And, I think understanding kind of like the connection between mind, body, spirit, because I feel like I've always had kind of that spiritual connection, but the body part is tough. I'm a twin and I have a twin sister, and she actually is always into holistic care and like essential oils and organic foods. And I mean, I'm talking like I was 25 eating ramen noodles, and she was like texting me, "What are you doing? I can't believe you're putting that in your body." And she always used to kind of lecture me, and I was like, yeah, whatever, but that was a struggle for me. That was really a struggle. And I understand that it's actually a struggle for a lot of people. I mean, I feel like maybe sometimes your spirit is even easier to change than your actual physical body. And so like getting yourself in a position where you feel good, you know what I mean? Like you feel good about yourself. You have energy, that brings enthusiasm, that brings, confidence and light. And so for me, that is the part that I struggle with, and I continue to struggle with. Everyone has a weakness, but I can definitely say that they all matter just as much as the next.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you sharing that, because it's, the whole eating thing, nutrition, it's like we all know what we should be doing, but then it's this kind of pressure of, well, should we be doing that? But I want to eat this because I enjoy it. It's like, what is that ultimate kind of balance at the end of the day? So that's why I'm excited for my wife to come talk. She's going to talk about a couple things around that, just to hopefully help people kind of.
Listen, I think, for a lot of people, perhaps the physical part, like, is where people should start. Because like, if you don't feel good, if you're sick, how can you have the right, energy and attitude and all that stuff? It's hard. It's hard when you're struggling physically, and getting right physically sometimes I think is a jumping off. And how many times have we seen people, right? They change their lifestyle, they change everything. All of a sudden they have this energy. And you're like, what the heck happened to them? You know, it's like this huge, you know what I'm saying? Like it's that one lethargic person that never wanted to do anything. All of a sudden they, you know, start eating right and working out, and they're just like this guru. And you're like, man, you totally changed your life.
Yep.
You know? So
true. It's so true. No, I am, I'm fired up to spend more time with you next week and get to dive in, and you're going to be integral and part in the shift experience and leading a bunch of interviews. And it's going to be awesome to have you with us and have you up on stage and helping change lives as well. So I think I've taken too much of your time today, so I'm going to let you roll, but I can't thank you enough, Cassandra, seriously, for taking your time today and being with me. And I'm just fired up for the 15th of May.
Hey, we're in it to win it, Matt. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
All right, thanks.
Bye.